Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over the more ridiculous stories I've done in a while, titled, My Girlfriend, a 29-year-old female, was proposed to by her disabled friend. She wants to do it, but still be with me. I'm conflicted. And a big shout out to the guys that sent me this story. Multiple dudes sent me this story this morning. And by the way, this story, which is very entertaining and very ridiculous, it's actually pretty old, but for some reason these guys both found it recently, so I'm going to cover it. The story's all about a guy. He's 28, as he says here. He's been with his girlfriend for 8 years. And you're going to find out real quick that in his eyes, she is pretty much God's gift to the world. In other words, he's put her on the pedestal. He sees her, and he'll describe this as a 9.5 out of 10 looks department, and he says he's a 7. And he pretty much is lucky to be with her, and he probably could never do better than anybody else, that type of mentality. And of course, you're going to see how she jerks him around with her bullshit. And what is that bullshit? Well, in the title, apparently she has a friend who is disabled, a guy in a wheelchair. I think he was in the military and got injured, which is terrible. Burns, things like that. And very depressed, and essentially because she feels bad for him, according to her story, she wants to have a pretend marriage to him, meanwhile staying with the relationship with this guy who's right around the corner from proposing to her. Ridiculous. And it's a whole drama fest that he gets sucked into, where you're going to see how he handles it. Initially his reaction's accurate, but then he's honestly a big giant P-U-S-S-E-Y and handles it wrong. So there's a lot of important lessons in this story here about why you never put the girl on the pedestal. You don't think yourselves that you're so low that this girl is the only good thing you're ever going to get, and therefore put up with her crap. How women are pull bullshit, like tests and stuff like this, to see what their guy's made of. Will he check her and all that? And you got to be willing to walk away if she crosses the line and never come back. And you're going to see here both these people, the girl and the guy, in my opinion, are incredibly immature for their age, are complete boneheads, and in a way actually are kind of perfect for each other. But anyhow, I don't want to say much more. You'll see it in real time. So it starts off, it says here, my girlfriend has made it clear that she wants to stay in our relationship and that she loves me. Oh, really? This person she knows has been her friend since childhood, and he's physically disabled. She's been close to him in a non-sexual way, writing letters and talking online every day to him for the last 2 years when he reestablished contact. Not cool. That's nice they were friends for a long time. Maybe that's nice because she feels bad for him because he's disabled and injured. Okay, I have empathy too. But no, your girl shouldn't be talking to any dudes, period. Hanging out with him, texting, talking, and I don't care. She's always in a wheelchair. Now this is going to happen. No. Not cool. Major lines being crossed here, and this guy obviously didn't check her when he should have. Well, last month, he proposed to her. She accepted. This is your girlfriend. She accepted a proposal from another guy. What did I tell you about not having her talking to other guys? She told me that she's going to do it and feel so strongly about it and won't change her mind, ring and everything. Okay, honey. Well, have a nice life. Go marry your guy. Have fun. I'm out of here. Does this show you a girl that loves him so much by her saying and doing this? The marriage is going to be just in name, she says. She says they won't actually live together or have any romance or sex. It's more of a token than a real thing. There are legal aspects of it as well, and she says are not that big of a deal and won't be relevant. I do not want another man telling people she is his. I do not want to be in a polyamorous relationship, or for her to eventually invite him to live with us, or something not like that. If he convinced her to marry him, who knows what else he can convince her of. Well, there you go. Once again saying, well, your girl, lines are drawn. She's not going to have dudes she hangs out with, talks to, becomes BFFs with, stuff like that. Look what happens right here. Now, she's an a-hole. We can all agree that, but who also is an a-hole here? The guy in the wheelchair. Because he obviously knows she's in a relationship, at least that's what I think, and is deliberately screwing it up. And again, that's terrible that he's, through injuries, disabled in a wheelchair, and he has burns. That you're going to find that out. But he's deliberately screwing it up, and that ain't cool. And this guy deserves a serious talking to. But at this point, I'd be like, hey, have a nice life. I'm out of here. I'm not sharing you. And even if she changed her mind, said, oh, I'm sorry, it shows the kind of mindset she has. Bad place. I'm also under no circumstance want to lose her. Smack! You already lost her, buddy. I hate to break it to you. We have a perfect relationship for almost 8 years. You really think that? You really are so into this girl that you've convinced yourself your relationship is perfect when she's accepting a wedding proposal from some other dude and wants to do it because she claims she feels bad? That's your perfect relationship? Some guys are so fucking blind. She never hinted that she wants something like this. I even dumped her because of it, because I was hoping that would change her mind, but she didn't. She called my bluff. I was such a wreck that I came back to her after 1 day. Smack! So he dumped her, which was the right thing to do in this situation, but he's so in love with her and his life, he can't imagine his life without her, that after 1 day, he went back to her crying. And guess who has all the power now? Her. 1 day, he couldn't last 2 days or even a week. Maybe after a week she would have woken up to reality. Now she has all the power. She said, of course we are still together, but she wants me to meet him to put my mind at ease. Yeah, it's called But. You came back so quick, I got all the power now. Another thing I said is that she can do it just for show, have a fake ceremony. Another thing I said is, can she just do it for the show, have a fake ceremony? She set on an official marriage ceremony. I said, do it for 1 week and then divorce, and she said that's up to him. See? At first he said no, walked away, said we're done, and 1 day went crawling back to her. Now she has all the cards, and she's going to go do this ceremony anyway. You cannot be in a relationship with someone like this. She doesn't love you, and also, she's mental. This is ridiculous. I don't think she's cheating. Well, she's having an emotional affair. This guy in the wheelchair is bound and burned, but I want to propose to her, and I'm scared he might try to game her somehow. Smack! You want to propose to a girl who's going to do this to you, has no consideration for your feelings or your heart whatsoever, not to mention embarrassing you? I mean, you got to be kidding me. But again, as you'll find out more, this guy has literally given her everything. She knows he ain't going anywhere. She has no respect for this guy. And if a woman doesn't respect you, she doesn't love you. Now is an update for Shit for Brain story here. It says, thank you for all your messages. I know this is screwed up. My girlfriend is not dumb, but she is a bit sheltered. This is a long update because a lot has happened. I'm trying to make sense of it all. When I confronted her a couple nights ago, she kept reiterating that it is a marriage with no romance attached to it, and that it will be the best day of his life, and they'll probably have media attention on it because he was a soldier. There you go. Media attention, which means she will get attention. She could be on in a newspaper, a magazine, or maybe on CNN. Who knows? CNN would like something like this. And by the way, she said, it's a marriage with no romance attached to it. In other words, pretty much most marriages out there. She said she will still live with me and still be committed to me. She was saying I have no compassion or understand her intentions, and that made her sad. Twist it around, make him be the bad guy here. It made 0 sense, but I could tell she was being stubborn and trying to justify it. Well, no shit, and she knows you're not going anywhere, jackass. She let me talk to him on the phone finally. Right away, I knew he sounded off mentally. He told me he got his heart broken recently by someone who cheated on him and was planning to give my girlfriend the ring he got for the other girl. So this a-hole is deliberately sabotaging this guy's relationship. And obviously this guy can get girls since he recently had a girlfriend and all that, but I don't buy this whole, there's nothing going on with his girlfriend saying, there's nothing going on with him, blah, blah, blah. Well, there is. Obviously an emotional affair, and Lord knows what else may be going on. Guys, you can't be with a girl like this, who clearly something's going on, and showing this disrespect and all that. You owe it to yourself. Love yourself, for God's sake, not to be with someone like this. Because you think this is bad now, he stays with her. Imagine how she's going to be treating him the rest of their lives once they become married, and how she'll rake him over the coals in court. But then again, a guy this dumb kind of deserves it. It says here, he said he didn't want the ceremony for himself, but for his parents to feel like they had a normal son, because it was their dream to watch him get married. I told him this makes me angry because I was planning to propose to her already, and I'll never be able to marry her now. I then lost control and told him that if he doesn't, I'm going to ruin his life, and then he calmly said his life is already ruined. Well, this guy has a right to be pissed at this guy, but also, because this guy is deliberately trying to fuck it up, but why isn't this guy telling the story here really laying into his girlfriend, who deserves to be yelled at even more? Why? Because he's so pee-whipped and so weak that he won't do it. He didn't give a shit. I seriously wanted to fight him, and I felt like he enjoyed having that power. So then there was a big argument. Her father, his girlfriend here, was furious about the whole thing and was just screaming at her. He was saying some mean stuff, calling her an idiot, immature, and delusional. Then after a while, after he tears into all her arguments, she backs down and says it was never going to be a legal marriage anyway. Her mom kept on defending her. Of course, the father, who has logic and a brain, is tearing her a new one, which he should, and the mother's defending her. Mom was defending her, saying, let them do it, it's just for innocent fun, it'll make the boy's year. He was suicidal, blah, blah, blah. And her father kept saying, over my dead body, this is not real life, not make-believe, we spoiled her, she should be focusing on her career, etc. Yeah, this girl was definitely spoiled by her parents, as I've put together here. I didn't know what to do, so I was starting to plan on how I would break up with her. But then the next day, she contacts me and tells me the entire thing is dropped. She says it's not going to happen, and it was stupid, and she was never serious about it, that she just wanted to do good for somebody who was suffering, who she grew up with. But she didn't want to come between her and me, so she said she's being selfish and got tunnel vision. I think the dad said more to her than she realized, like, I'm cutting you out of the will, or I'm not paying for any weddings, and that guy would wake up real quick. This guy's feelings were not it, you know? But again, even though she says it's not going to happen, why stay with someone like this that could easily cast you aside, treat you like this, and not to mention it's just complete shit for brains. Now we're getting to some details here. He says, today I proposed to her. Smack, 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 smack. You're proposing to this moron who doesn't care about you at all, who does this? I love her too much to dump her. She is a 9.5 and I'm only a 7. I would never be able to do better. Smack. Who says that, guys? Nice guys, blue pill guys, weak guys. Come on, dude. Have some fucking self-respect. He says, I know looks aren't everything, and she's more than just a body. I told her it was on the condition we would have a long engagement, and I'm disturbed about this whole situation that happened, and that if she didn't come to me with this news today, I would have ended the relationship. She told me to just forget it ever happened, and then to prove to me, she took the friend off her Facebook list in front of me and said she won't ever talk to him again. What are they, in fucking high school? That's how she acts. Probably is very spoiled. Now for some updates here, and apparently he was really torn a new one in the comment section on both his posts. And obviously this guy's thin-skinned. He says here, I see you're all perfect and don't know what true love is. Dude, you call this true love? You're in for a real miserable marriage to this one. You all think she's a cheater, but she's not. She was emotionally cheating on you at least. She just has a really big heart. She goes out of her way to help people, even beggars in the street, and she will give them money. It's a headache still, like she wanted to keep this guy's ring now because it's her first proposal ever. She's really sentimental that way, but I told her that's not acceptable to me, and she's going to send it back to him with a letter explaining why she won't continue contact with him. Well, at least they did that part right. Lastly, as for the comment about 9.5 out of 7, I don't see what the big deal is. I said she means more to me than just looks, but her looking great is a sign of the beauty of what's inside her. Dude, you're fucking delusional. Beauty. Someone that has inner beauty wouldn't treat a guy she claims that she loves like that. Go and put him through the mental gymnastics and emotions and embarrassing him like that? No. You just don't want to admit that you got yourself the wrong girl and you're a goddamn fool. Everyone wants to be around her in her life. Yeah, and probably do her too. It's really hard to deal with that as her boyfriend, and it always has been. Then find some other chick. It's not hard. Come on here. So many times people drunk dial her or obsess about her with tons of phone calls. She still hasn't learned to be able to say no, though, and she's told me she will work on it. So she gets bombarded from attention from guys, that she meets places and all that, and she says she'll work on that. Again, doesn't care about his feelings. Attention and validation. Remember how he said it, we don't know what true love is, the comment section? But in the 8 years we've been together, she's never been unfaithful. Okay, brother. I want to give her the best wedding now to prove to her that I'm worth it. Smack. Who talks like that? You all know what kind of guys talk like that. I got to prove I'm worth worth it for this girl to marry me. Okay, your royal majesty. Get the fuck out of here, man. You guys might be right that she was testing me somehow, you think? I do feel hurt and don't completely understand it, but it isn't enough to dump somebody for just being naive or for wanting to get married. If I dumped her like you all wanted, that wouldn't solve anything. And that is the end of his story before I read some comments here. So I'm going to say this. You know, a lot of guys that hate my guts on YouTube, not women, guys, are guys like this. Because I honestly preach, that's a bad word to choose. I'm not a fucking minister. I talk reality, human nature, all that. But the reality is, most people don't like reality or common sense because they are shit for brains. And it's like, literally, you start talking about these things that go against the whole paradigm that a lot of guys have been raised, the narrative, if you will. They have meltdowns. It's like Empire Strikes Back when Vader told Luke he was his father, and Luke is like, no! All that bullshit. You know what I'm talking about here. It's the same thing. And so these guys will go on and stay with these women that treat them like garbage, do these things, mess with their minds, mess with their hearts, until one day they wake up into reality, and they learn the hard way. And then the same guys like me who they hated for talking about reality, then they're writing stories saying, I was wrong, I'm sorry, thank you, blah, blah, blah. This guy marries her. I can't imagine the shit she's going to put him through. Guys, girl treats you with disrespect like that in varying levels. Cut ties and move on. End of story. And I guarantee this wasn't the first time. In fact, no, it wasn't. Because for 2 years he said that she was talking to this guy. And he was aware of it. But he was just trying to be the nice, supportive boyfriend. Look where that got him. Right? His suffering has only begun. So guys, learn from this guy's story here. You are worth far more to be treated like this. And if you couldn't get a girl before, which a lot of these guys can't, work on yourselves, work on your skills, blah, blah, blah. You will attract women, develop, but you gotta have some self-respect first. Nobody's gonna treat you right if you don't respect yourself and love yourself first. And that what comes from working on yourselves, bettering yourselves, and understanding you're worth something. But so many guys don't think they are. Now some comments here, because this is pretty funny. One guy says here, you realize how screwed up your proposal was, right? You should have waited for this to blow over, assuming it does, before asking her to marry you. Getting proposed doesn't fix anything, especially if it's long term. Simply adding a different title to your relationship won't fix a crazy girlfriend, even if she's a 9.5. Let's put it this way. I'd personally take a non-crazy 7 over a psychotic 9.5 who wanted to marry another guy for the luz. Right. I mean, I would take a girl that's a 7, fuck a 6, but was truly a good person and kind and loving and loyal and not nuts like this any day. Then a gal is a 9.5 and not only crazy but an asshole. And again, he says she's hot, in his opinion, 9.5 out of 10. So this goes into the hot crazy scale. Now the guy says here, you are making a horrible mistake by continuing to let this woman be in your life. Her being a 9.5 and you being a 7 is a terrible reason to propose to her. There are plenty of better women out there who don't do shit like this. If you think this is the end of her emotional cheating and ridiculous dramatic escapades, you are in for a surprise. Thank you. The whole comment section is full of people like this. Another guy says here, he goes, one giant facepalm. So she almost ruins your relationship and possibly her life by entangling herself in a very emotionally and legally complicated situation just to be nice. And your reaction is, damn, better not let this one go. Presumably because you think that you can't do better just because she's a bit better looking than you. My head is spinning from all the fail. He says, I've learned the hard way more than once that sacrificing yourself solely as a preemptive measure to keep someone from doing something is always a terrible idea. And there you go. So, guys, let's learn from this jackass here. And I know I'm particularly harsh today, but I gotta be, because when you have people who are this boneheaded, they really deserve what's coming to them. If he marries her, you can only imagine the life he's going to have. And this is just the beginning. And good Lord, do they live in a no-fault divorce state. Yeah, no-fault divorce state. Good freaking Lord. But we can learn from his mistakes and get a good laugh, because that's why we're here. So, don't get involved with crazy. Break up with crazy. When you see the crazy guys, have some self-respect. And if she's better looking than you, or the best looking girl you ever had, guess what? It's not worth dealing with all the bullshit. End of story. And have some self-respect and walk away. And when you show weakness, a woman doesn't respect you, she will test, don't be bullshit, and in many cases, punishment for being weak. Learn. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.